The first alarm did not sound like a normal warning. It was deeper, slower, almost like a heartbeat coming from the ground itself. Cadets across the training camp looked up at the sky as the vibration passed under their feet. No one spoke at first. It was strange, and anything strange on a military base meant only one thing: something dangerous was coming. Commander Ralvek walked into the training yard with steady steps. His tall alien frame and silver armor made him look like a walking storm. The cadets stood in lines as he faced them, his glowing eyes moving across every face. Humans, aliens, hybrids, everyone waited for him to speak. "You were chosen for discipline," he began, voice sharp. "But discipline must be tested. Today your test arrives early." A murmur spread through the group. No one expected a test today. It was supposed to be a normal training session with wooden weapons and simulated targets. Not this. Not something that made the ground itself warn them. Ralvek raised one hand toward the reinforced gate at the end of the yard. The heavy locks on it began to shift and open, metal folding like the ribs of a beast waking from sleep. From inside the cage came a growl that sounded too large for the space that held it. The cadets stiffened. Everyone knew the stories. The overseers used special creatures for evaluation, creatures bred for power, trained for aggression, and controlled only by certain handlers. They were never shown to new cadets. They were never used without extreme reason. Something about today was different. In one of the lines stood a young human cadet named Jace Renner. He was not the strongest, not the fastest, but he was the one who paid attention. While others stared in fear at the opening gate, Jace studied Ralvek's face. There was no anger in it, no excitement, only calculation. It made him uneasy. The metal door clanged open. The beast stepped out. It was larger than any creature Jace had ever seen. Thick brown fur covered its body like armor. Its claws dug small lines in the ground with every step. Muscles rippled under its coat, showing it was built for battle, not display. The creature lifted its head, sniffed the air, and let out a low rumble that made nearby cadets stumble backward. Someone whispered, "Is it a war beast?" Another answered, "Why would they use one on us?" The beast's eyes glowed faint amber, scanning the rows of young cadets. Jace's breath caught in his throat. He tried not to move. If he moved, maybe the creature would notice him. If it noticed him, maybe it would. Ralvek stepped aside and announced, "You will stand your ground. If you run, you fail. If you strike without purpose, you fail. Only those with calm minds will pass." It sounded simple, but it was. A calm mind meant courage. A calm mind meant survival. The beast moved again, slow, heavy. Each step made the air feel tighter. The cadets tried to remain still, but fear made their bodies tremble. Jace felt the tremble in his own hands. He hid them behind his back so no one would see. The beast sniffed toward the alien cadets first. They stood like statues, trained from birth to show no fear. But even they could not hide the tension in their throats. The creature huffed and kept moving. Then it turned toward the humans. A few of them swallowed loudly. One stepped back. Another raised his training stick, only to lower it after a sharp glare from an instructor. Jace stayed still, knees locked, trying not to breathe too fast. The beast stopped 3 steps away from him. The entire yard froze. Jace felt its breath on his face, warm, heavy, smelling like wild earth and something old. He expected it to roar. He expected it to attack. But instead, the creature lowered its massive head and stared. It wasn't the stare of a predator hunting prey. It was something else, curiosity. Jace blinked. Slowly, carefully, he looked into the animal's eyes. They were not wild, not unfocused. They were sharp, aware, almost thoughtful. He did not understand what it meant, but something inside him said not to move. The beast leaned closer. Cadets held their breath. Instructors reached for their weapons. Ralvek did not. The creature gave a deep sigh, then lowered its entire body to the ground, right in front of Jace. And then, unbelievably, it curled its huge form around his boots, rested its head on his foot, and closed its eyes as if choosing him as a pillow. Gasps echoed through the training yard. One alien cadet whispered, "Why him?" Another muttered, "That beast should be attacking, not sleeping." Jace didn't understand it either. He stood frozen, afraid even to shift his weight. The beast seemed so calm, too calm. It was the exact opposite of what everyone had prepared for. Commander Ralvek finally spoke, and his voice was quieter than before. "This has never happened." The instructors exchanged looks of concern and confusion. Jace's friends stared at him with a mix of awe and envy. But the strangest reaction came from the alien cadets. They looked at him not with jealousy but with suspicion, as if something unseen had changed around him. Jace slowly raised his hands. "Commander, what should I do?" Ralvik approached, footsteps sharp but controlled. He studied the human cadet, then the sleeping beast, then back to Jace. "You will not move," he said. "You will wait." "For what?" Jace asked. Ralvik did not answer. He didn't need to. The silence made it clear. Whatever had just happened was not a test of strength anymore. It was something different, something older, something deeper. The beast created for war had chosen peace, and it had chosen a human. Around them the air shifted. The cadets felt it. The instructors felt it. Even the beast felt it, breathing softly as if dreaming of something important. Jace stared down at the creature resting beside him, confused but strangely calm. He had no idea why this had happened. He had no idea what would come next. But he knew one thing with certainty: nothing in this academy, nothing in this galaxy would be the same after today. The training yard stayed silent for a long time. No one dared to step forward. The huge beast continued sleeping beside Jace, breathing slowly, its warm breath touching the ground like soft waves. It looked peaceful, almost gentle, but every cadet knew what it was capable of. That made its calmness even more shocking. Commander Ralvik stood with his arms behind his back, studying the scene with sharp eyes. His expression never changed, but inside, even he struggled to understand the meaning of this moment. The war beast was supposed to challenge the cadets, test their fear, and measure their readiness. But instead, it had chosen one human boy as if he were its safe place. The alien instructors whispered among themselves in their own languages. Their glowing eyes kept turning toward Jace. Some expressions showed curiosity, others showed worry. Jace felt all of those stares. He felt his heartbeat in his throat. He still hadn't moved. He wasn't sure if he even could. The beast's massive head was resting partly on his boot, and one wrong shift might wake it. And no one wanted that. Finally, Ralvik signaled. "Cadets, return to your quarters," slowly. They obeyed, stepping back without making sudden noises. The alien cadets moved first, their steps light and controlled. Humans followed, glancing at Jace with wide eyes. Jace expected to be told to move next, but Ralvik held up a hand. "Not you." Jace froze again. He didn't know if the command meant danger or something else. The yard emptied until only Jace, Ralvik, two instructors, and the sleeping beast remained. Ralvik stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Human cadet, tell me, have you had past contact with this creature?" "No, sir," Jace answered quietly. "I've never seen it." "Have you seen anything like it before?" "No, sir." "Do you feel anything unusual? Any fear, any connection?" Jace hesitated. The question felt strange, but he tried to answer honestly. "It feels calm," he said. "That's all. I don't know why, but it feels like it trusts me." Ralvik watched him carefully. His glowing eyes narrowed, not in anger, but in thought. "This beast does not trust," he said. "It was never trained to trust, only to fight." Jace swallowed hard. He didn't know how to respond to that. One of the instructors stepped forward. She had metallic blue skin, thin features, and eyes that flickered with information. "Commander, may I perform a scan?" Ralvik nodded. The instructor held a small device that hummed softly as she approached the beast. Before she could get close, the creature's ears twitched. Its eyes snapped open. The instructor froze. Jace felt the beast shift slightly against his foot. The air tightened again, but the creature did not rise. Instead, it simply stared at the instructor with a deep warning sound. Ralvik raised a hand. "Step back." She retreated slowly. The beast's growl faded and its head dropped again. The message was very clear: no one touches Jace. Ralvik whispered, "This is impossible." Jace felt the weight of his words. The universe had thousands of species, thousands of creatures, thousands of trained beasts. But this one was acting as if it had known him for years. As if he was more than a stranger, it was behaving like a guardian animal choosing its bonded partner. Jace had seen holovids of such bonds, but they were legends. Rare, almost mythical. Ralvik signaled the instructors. "Prepare a transport chamber. We will move the beast carefully." Jace quickly said, "Commander, I don't think it will let anyone touch it." All eyes turned to him. Ralvik asked, "Do you suggest that you move instead?" Jace nodded nervously. "I think I should try." The alien commander studied him again. He didn't like unpredictability. Everything in his academy followed rules and structure. Yet here stood a human boy breaking a rule that had existed for decades. War beasts did not bond with cadets. Ralvik gave a slow nod. "Move with care, no sudden actions." Jace breathed slowly and shifted one foot backward. The creature opened its eyes again. This time, however, instead of growling, it lifted its head slightly and watched him. He stepped back again. The beast rose, its massive body stretched, claws scraping lightly across the ground. Jace thought it might attack. Instead, it moved to stand beside him, too close, too protective. Ralvek noticed this immediately. "It is following you." Jace whispered, "I didn't do anything." The beast gave a soft chuffing sound, almost like a friendly breath. Ralvek pointed to the open hallway. "Walk, slowly, let us see its reaction." Jace obeyed, taking careful steps toward the academy building. The beast followed with steady steps, like a giant shadow that refused to leave him. The instructors watched with shock. It wasn't dragging him, it wasn't chasing him, it was escorting him. Inside the building, the halls were wide and polished, made from a bluish metal that reflected the sunlight from outside. As Jace walked, alien cadets peeked from rooms and doorways. When they saw what walked behind him, their eyes widened and their bodies stiffened. One alien cadet whispered to his friend, "If the beast chose him, does that make him dangerous?" Another replied, "No, it makes him important." Jace pretended he didn't hear them, but he did. And each word made him more nervous. He didn't want attention. He didn't want power. He just wanted to survive training like everyone else. The beast let out a low rumble again, this time softer. Jace looked over his shoulder. "It's okay," he whispered, unsure if it understood. But the creature's ears twitched and it lowered its head gently, as if accepting his voice. Ralvek and the instructors followed at a distance. The commander finally spoke. "Human Cadet Jace Renner, your presence has triggered an ancient response in this creature." Jace blinked. "Ancient response." Ralvek nodded. Long ago, warriors of many species believed that great beasts could sense the inner nature of a person. Courage, purity, potential, danger, sometimes even destiny. Jace felt a strange shiver down his spine. "I am not saying this is destiny," Ralvek added quickly. "But something old is happening here, something we do not yet understand." Jace didn't know what to say. The beast pressed its head lightly against his shoulder, surprising him with the gentleness of its touch. Ralvek watched closely. "This creature was sent to test the cadets," he said, "but instead it chose you." Jace looked down at the beast beside him, still confused, still overwhelmed. "I don't understand why." Ralvek answered in a calm, serious tone. "You will." Jace walked through the academy halls with the giant beast quietly trailing behind him. The creature's heavy paws made soft thuds on the polished floor, yet somehow the sound felt comforting instead of threatening. The other cadets stayed far back, whispering as Jace passed. Some whispered with fear, others with wonder, but most simply stared at the human boy who had somehow gained the loyalty of something powerful enough to tear a room apart. Jace wished they would stop staring. He felt strange, out of place. He had joined the academy to learn discipline and strength like everyone else, not to become the center of some mysterious event. Commander Ralvek led him toward the observatory wing, where thick glass rooms displayed the academy's trophies, old relics, and preserved records. Jace had only been here twice before. It always felt cold and quiet, like a library built for secrets. The beast walked beside him, close enough that its fur brushed lightly against Jace's arm. He tried not to react, but he couldn't ignore the gentle warmth it carried. Ralvek stopped at a massive door made of dark metal. Strange symbols glowed along its surface, symbols older than the academy itself. "In here," Ralvek said. Jace stepped inside the room. It was dim and filled with floating hollow screens displaying creatures from across the galaxy. Some small, some monstrous, some like nothing anyone could describe. The room had a single table in the center, surrounded by alien books and glowing crystals. The beast followed him in and sat beside him as if it had always belonged there. Ralvek watched carefully. "This room contains the oldest knowledge we have about creature instincts. We hope it may help us understand what is happening." The blue-skinned instructor, the one who had tried to scan the beast earlier, entered behind them. She kept her distance this time. Her voice was soft. "We call this creature a Vargan sentinel. It was bred for war 2,000 years ago. They never bonded, they obeyed." Jace frowned slightly. "Then why is it acting like this now?" "We do not know," she answered. She tapped a control panel, and one of the hollow screens expanded into the air. It showed ancient images of the same type of beast, standing beside armored alien warriors. The creatures looked fierce, violent, unstoppable, but none of them looked calm or gentle like the one beside Jace now. Ralvek spoke quietly. According to old reports, these beasts fought without hesitation. They recognized only two things, danger and command, yet this one has shown neither behavior. Instead, it has shown preference. Choice. Jace looked at the beast, which looked back at him with slow, warm eyes. "But why choose me?" he asked. The instructor studied him with her glowing eyes. "We noticed something earlier. When the beast rests near you, its energy pattern changes." "What does that mean?" "It means," she said carefully, "that your presence affects it. Perhaps your mind, perhaps your nature, perhaps something else entirely." Jace felt more confused than before. He wasn't special. He wasn't the strongest or smartest. He wasn't even confident most days. He was just a cadet trying to get through training without failing. Ralvek walked around the table and picked up one of the glowing crystals. Long ago, ancient species believed beasts like this could sense a warrior's spirit. If a creature trusted someone, it meant that person carried a rare trait. We do not know if such stories are true, but the galaxy often hides truth inside myth. Jace didn't feel like a warrior. He felt like someone thrown into a situation far beyond his understanding. The beast shifted its weight and nudged Jace's arm gently, as if sensing his worry. The instructor stepped forward slowly, watching the creature's reaction carefully. "Human cadet, please place your hand on its fur. We must observe." Jace hesitated. "Will it be safe?" Ralvek answered firmly, "It trusts you. If anyone can do this, it is you." Jace nodded and turned toward the beast. He lifted his hand slowly, carefully, and placed it on the creature's thick fur. The warmth surprised him. The fur was softer than he expected, almost like touching a living blanket of heat. The beast's eyes closed. A deep content rumble echoed through the room. Suddenly, the hollow screens around them flickered. Lights dimmed, then brightened again. The instructors gasped. "What was that?" Jace asked nervously. The blue-skinned instructor stepped closer, eyes wide. "It reacted to your touch. Its energy level increased." Ralvek narrowed his eyes. "No, not just increased, it synchronized." Jace blinked. "Synchronized with me." The instructor nodded slowly. "Your heartbeat, your calmness, your fear, all of it, its rhythm is matching yours." Jace felt his heart pounding. He tried to steady it, but the moment he got nervous, the beast's breathing quickened. "It follows your emotional state," the instructor explained. "This should not be possible." These creatures only mirrored their handlers' combat signals, never their feelings. The beast leaned gently against Jace's leg like a loyal companion. Ralvek finally spoke, voice deeper. "This creature did not choose you by accident." The meaning of those words weighed heavily on Jace's shoulders. The beast was not simply calm, it was connected to him. Jace sat down slowly, unsure how to handle everything happening around him. The beast followed him and curled at his side, laying its head in his lap like an oversized, armored dog. Jace didn't push it away. Somehow the closeness felt natural, even comforting. Ralvek watched silently for a long moment. Then he said, "This bond may be ancient, it may be dangerous, it may be powerful, but it is real." Jace looked up at him. "What happens now?" Ralvek paused before answering. "Now, we teach you how to understand it." Before Jace could respond, the Academy alarm sounded again, this time sharper, faster, more urgent. Another threat was coming. And this time the beast lifted its head immediately, eyes focused, ears raised. It was no longer sleepy. It was alert, and it was ready to protect the human it had chosen. The sharp alarm echoed through the Academy halls, louder and faster than anything Jace had heard before. It didn't sound like a training alert. It sounded like danger, real danger. The air itself felt tighter, as if the entire building was preparing to react. The Vargan beast beside Jace rose instantly, muscles tensed, eyes glowing with sudden focus. Its earlier softness vanished. This was the posture of a guardian ready to fight. Commander Ralvek turned toward the entrance. That alarm only activates during an external breach. The blue-skinned instructor checked the glowing screen on her wrist. Her face shifted into concern. "A ship has crossed the Academy border without authorization. It is not responding to our signals." "Pirates?" Ralvek asked. "Possibly, or something worse." Jace felt a cold shiver crawl up his spine. The beast moved closer to him, placing itself between Jace and the doorway, ready to intercept whatever threat came next. Ralvek addressed him directly. "Human cadet, stay close. Your safety is now our responsibility." But Jace shook his head slightly. "I think it wants me to stay near it." Ralvek glanced at the creature, then nodded once. "Then follow it. Trust its instinct more than ours." The beast growled low, as if agreeing. They exited the observatory room and moved into the main hall. Lights flickered red along the walls. Cadets were rushing in organized lines, following evacuation orders. Some looked frightened, but their training kept their steps controlled. When they saw Jace with the war beast walking beside him, their fear mixed with confusion. Whispers spread fast. Why is the beast with him? Is he controlling it? No, it's protecting him. The beast stayed close, its tail sweeping low across the floor, its eyes scanning every shadow. It wasn't panicking. It wasn't confused. It was ready. The blue-skinned instructor led them to the command balcony where they could see the training grounds outside. The vast yard was empty now. Cadets had cleared it as instructed. At the far edge of the field, a ship hovered above the ground, shaped like a dark blade cutting through sunlight. Its engines hummed with a strange, unsettling rhythm. Ralvik stared at it. That is no pirate craft. Then what is it? Jace asked, the instructor's voice lowered. It's a Craven scout. Jace didn't recognize the name, but the way she said it made him uneasy. Ralvik explained, the Craven Empire has destroyed 3 colonies this year. They attack without warning, without reason. They take whatever they want. They test defenses just like this. Jace swallowed hard, so they came here. They never attack full academies, Ralvik said, unless they are looking for something. The beast growled deeply, louder than before. Its eyes fixed on the hovering ship with a fierce focus Jace had never seen. Ralvik noticed. It senses danger. Serious danger. Jace watched as the ship opened a side hatch. A tall figure stepped out, wrapped in armor that looked almost grown rather than built. Its helmet glowed with red lines that pulsed like veins. It wasn't a pirate. It wasn't a scout, it was a hunter. The figure scanned the yard calmly, then looked directly toward the building, toward Jace. The beast roared, a thunderous sound that shook dust from the walls. It stepped forward, body lowering into a protective stance. Jace felt a strange pull, a connection forming like a tightening thread between him and the creature. The hunter began walking toward them. Ralvik shouted orders. Shields up. Weapons ready, protect the cadets. Soldiers ran to positions around the balcony, activating defense barriers and charging energy weapons. Lights hardened into protective walls, but the hunter did not stop. It advanced with slow, confident steps. The instructor whispered urgently to Ralvik. This is not a random attack. They came for the beast or for the one it chose. Jace felt the beast brush against his leg again, not scared but preparing him. The connection between them grew stronger, like a heartbeat shared between 2 different beings. The hunter raised one hand. A pulse of energy burst. The yard felt like a silent battlefield, waiting for the first strike. Dust swirled around the Vargan beast as it stood face to face with the Craven hunter. Every muscle in its body was tense, but its eyes stayed fixed not on the weapon, not on the danger, but on one thing, Jace, standing above on the balcony. The connection between them pulsed stronger now, almost like a living thread of light. Jace didn't fully understand it, but he felt the beast's emotions moving through him. Not fear, not panic, just one clear purpose, protect. The Craven hunter lifted the glowing blade again, its armor humming with deep energy. It looked at the beast like something blocking its prize, not a threat but an obstacle. The hunter tilted its head, observing, calculating. Then it charged. The speed was terrifying. One moment it stood still, the next it was across the yard in a blur of red light and sharp metal. The beast roared and leapt forward, meeting the attack with a thunderous clash that sent shock waves across the ground. Energy scattered like sparks. The force pushed sand and broken stone outward in a ring. Cadets on the balcony gasped. Soldiers steadied their weapons. Commander Ralvik held out his arm to keep them from interfering. Everyone stay back, he ordered sharply. This creature chose its fight. Jace watched helplessly as the beast and hunter collided again and again. The beast struck with its massive claws, trying to push the hunter back. The hunter countered with swift, precise movements, swinging its blade in deadly arcs. Each hit echoed across the yard like thunder. Jace gripped the railing until his knuckles turned white. He could feel the beast's effort, its pain, its determination. Every strike made his chest tighten as though the blows were landing on his own body. The instructor beside him whispered, "The bond is stronger than anything we expected." Ralvik didn't respond. His eyes were locked on the fight. The beast lunged, its claws slicing through the ground as the hunter dodged sideways. The hunter moved like a shadow, using speed instead of strength. It slashed the beast's shoulder with the glowing blade. The beast staggered back, letting out a pained roar. Jace gasped as a sharp ache shot through his own shoulder. It wasn't real pain, not physical, but something deeper, emotional, like the wound was shared in spirit. The instructor saw his reaction. "Jace, stay calm. If you panic, the beast will feel it." He tried to breathe steadily, but his heart raced faster as the hunter advanced again. The beast lowered itself, ready for another attack, but Jace felt something new inside the connection, something the beast wasn't aware of yet. Fear. Not fear of the hunter, fear of failing Jace. Jace leaned over the railing and shouted, "You can do this, I'm here." The beast's ears twitched, its head lifted just slightly. The bond glowed stronger inside Jace's chest. The creature's stance straightened, its breathing steadied. Ralvek glanced at Jace in surprise. He's influencing it. The battle shifted. The hunter rushed in with another deadly strike, but this time the beast spun aside with surprising speed. It swiped its heavy claws toward the hunter's leg, knocking the armored warrior off balance. Cracks formed in the ground from the force. The cadets watching from windows began to whisper excitedly, "It's winning." "No, look, the hunter is adapting. It's reading the beast's rhythm." They were right. The hunter quickly adjusted, rushing forward again with faster movements, its blade tracing red arcs through the air. It struck the beast's side, then its shoulder, trying to weaken the massive creature piece by piece. The beast fought back, but each wound slowed it more. Jace felt the beast's strength fading inside the bond. His chest tightened again. The connection pulsed weakly. The hunter stepped back, raising its blade for a final, powerful strike. "No." Jace shouted. The beast looked up at him, and something changed. Jace didn't know if it was instinct, fear, or something deeper. But he felt a pull inside his mind, a push toward courage. Without thinking, Jace closed his eyes. He focused on one single thought: "You are not alone. I'm with you." The bond surged. Light flared briefly between the two beings. The beast roared, louder than any roar before. Its body glowed faintly with golden energy as it pushed off the ground with renewed strength. It moved faster, harder, fueled by Jace's certainty. The hunter brought its blade down. The beast met it head-on. Claws and energy collided. The force shattered stones beneath them. The hunter stumbled, its blade shaking as the beast's strength overwhelmed it. For the first time, the hunter's armor cracked. A red glow flickered weakly from inside the break. Ralvek leaned forward with shock. "Impossible. That armor is forged to resist lasers." The beast didn't stop. It slammed its massive shoulder into the hunter, sending the armored figure skidding across the ground. Dust exploded in a cloud. The hunter rolled but caught itself and rose again, though slower now. The crack in its armor pulsed like a wounded vein. The beast stepped forward, growling low and powerful. It was tired, bleeding, hurt, but it was not backing down. And Jace felt a surge of pride and determination rise inside him. He stood tall, gripping the railing. "You can end this," he called out. The hunter rushed for a final attempt, lifting the glowing blade. The beast leapt. Time felt slow. Dust lifted around them. The hunter swung its weapon downward. But the beast moved under the strike, dodging by inches. It rose with a full-force swipe that smashed into the cracked part of the hunter's armor. The red glow inside flickered violently. The hunter staggered backward. The beast roared again and tackled the hunter with its full weight. They struck the ground together. The glowing blade slipped from the hunter's hand. Dust settled. The hunter lay still. The armored glow faded out. The craven warrior was defeated. Silence fell across the academy. Cadets in the windows stared. Instructors stood frozen. Ralvek exhaled slowly, not in relief but in awe. Jace pressed a hand to his chest. His heart pounded, but the bond felt calm again. Warm, alive, the beast slowly climbed to its feet. It limped, wounded but standing strong. Then it lifted its head toward Jace. Their eyes met, and Jace felt a message inside the bond. Not words, a feeling. "We did it. Together." The beast bowed its head slightly. Ralvek whispered, "This creature has accepted him fully." But even as he said it, alarms began to sound again. Not danger alarms, communication alarms. The instructor checked her device. Her eyes widened. "Commander, the Craven ship is sending a transmission." Ralvek stepped forward, put it on speaker. The message came through, cold, metallic, and chilling. "We have confirmed the presence of the human. The bonded human, prepare for retrieval." Jace froze. "They're not here for the beast," the instructor whispered. Ralvek turned slowly toward Jace. "They're here for you." The academy fell silent as the Craven message echoed through the halls. Every cadet froze. Every instructor stopped moving. Even the broken battlefield outside seemed to hold its breath. "We have confirmed the presence of the human. The bonded human, prepare for retrieval." Jace felt his stomach twist. He stood in the middle of the balcony, surrounded by shocked eyes. The Vargan beast stepped closer to him, pressing its huge shoulder against his legs as if trying to shield him from the voice echoing overhead. Commander Ralvek's expression tightened. So that is their goal. They came for him, not the creature. The blue-skinned instructor whispered, "Commander, why would the Craven Empire want a human cadet?" Ralvek's voice was low. They must have sensed the bond. Something ancient, something valuable. Jace swallowed hard. "I don't understand. I'm no one. Why would they want me?" The Vargan lifted its great head and nudged him softly, a rumble sounding deep in its chest. Jace felt a wave of calming warmth pass through the bond. It was telling him he wasn't alone. Ralvek turned, speaking firmly. "Everyone to battle positions. Protect the cadets. This academy will not surrender him." But before anyone moved, the sky outside darkened. A second Craven ship appeared, much larger than the first. Its shadow spread across the entire training field like a giant wing sweeping over the academy. Lights glowed beneath it in blood-red lines, humming with dangerous energy. Cadets gasped. Instructors readied their weapons. Jace felt the beast bristle beside him. The ship hovered above the battlefield, and then a tall hologram flickered in front of them, a Craven commander. Its voice was deep and emotionless. "Human, you carry a bond older than your species. Surrender and we will spare this academy." Jace stepped back, shaking his head. "I'm not going anywhere with you." The Craven commander tilted its head. "The Sentinel has chosen you. You are its kind, its equal, its partner in evolution." Ralvek stepped forward. "You will not take him." The hologram ignored him completely. "Human, your bond changes the creature, makes it stronger. Our empire studies strength. Your existence is now required." The beast growled loudly at the hologram, its fur bristling, claws scraping the floor. Jace took a deep breath. "What if I refuse?" The hologram paused. "Then we take you by force." The ship began charging its main weapon, swirling red energy like a storm gathering inside a burning sun. The beast roared so loudly it shook the balcony. Ralvek shouted, "Shields up. Evacuate the young cadets." Chaos erupted, alarms screamed. Cadets ran to defensive positions, but Jace didn't move. He looked at the Vargan. "They're coming for me. You don't have to fight again. You're already hurt." The beast stepped forward and pressed its head against his chest, gently, firmly. Jace felt its message inside the bond. "You are my choice. I protect my choice." Jace closed his eyes for a moment. Fear faded. The bond glowed softly inside him. He placed his hand on the beast's thick fur. Something warm pulsed between them, stronger than before. The instructor saw the glow. "Commander, the bond is evolving again." Ralvek stared. He's not controlling it. They're merging their instincts. Outside, the Craven ship fired its first shot. But the beast moved before anyone else could react. It leapt from the balcony, landing with a thunderous crash on the battlefield below. Dust exploded around it as it faced the ship like a lone guardian against a giant. Jace felt his legs move before he could think. He ran down the stairs. Instructors tried to stop him, but he pushed past. He reached the field just as the beast stepped in front of him again. The ship charged its weapon for a second blast. Jace didn't run. He didn't hide. He stood beside the beast, placing his hand on its shoulder. The bond ignited. Not just a glow, a wave. Golden light burst from the point of contact, spreading across the beast's body like lightning traveling through fur. Then the light spread again into Jace. His heartbeat matched the beast's rhythm. His breath matched its breath. Their minds aligned in instinct and purpose. And then something impossible happened. A barrier formed around them, shimmering gold, alive, pulsing like a shield made from their shared spirit. The Craven weapon fired. The energy slammed into the golden barrier, but it didn't break. It rippled like a dome in a storm, absorbing the blast, then scattering it into harmless sparks. Cadets gasped in disbelief. Ralvek whispered, "A human Vargan resonance, legendary, mythical, and real." The Craven commander's hologram flickered again. "Impossible. The bond has awakened powers thought extinct." Jace stepped forward, voice steady, surprising even himself. "You can't have me, and you can't have this creature." The beast growled in agreement, lowering itself as if preparing to leap. The commander gave a final warning. "You are becoming something powerful. That makes you a target. We will return." The hologram vanished. The ship hovered for a moment, then turned away, engines roaring as it left the academy skies. Silence followed. Slowly, cadets and instructors came out onto the field. Their faces showed a mix of awe, fear, and respect. The beast lowered its head, exhausted but alive. Jace knelt beside it. "You're safe. We're safe." The beast nudged him again, breathing softly, trusting him completely. Ralvek approached with slow steps. "Human cadet Jace Renner, this academy cannot train you as a normal soldier anymore." Jace looked up quickly. What do you mean? The commander's voice was steady and certain. You and the Sentinel have changed. You carry a bond the galaxy has not seen in many ages. You are no longer just a cadet. Jace swallowed. Then what am I? Ralvek placed a hand on his shoulder. A protector of worlds, a symbol of what humans can become, and the first human